So how do we do that? Well, of course, prayer is the number one mode of change. Very, very effective. Probably the most effective. And another thing to remember is that we never want to do it ourselves. Because why is that? Why do we not want to change our own mind or heal our own mind? It's not up to us.
We created it.
We created it. Right, it's like we created Frankenstein, and now, we're not exactly the right person to actually try to create something better, because look what we created, something that's not very happy, let's say. So we always want to take that up to the level of our higher consciousness, into the realm of divine wisdom, because divine wisdom can correct these things for us, as long as we don't decide against it. If we do decide against it, let's just say that I want to continue, maybe I'm a smoker and I don't want to be a smoker anymore, but I really kind of do, but I don't, but I do. Can anybody really talk me out of that? Right? No. So if I want to quit, but I still have a few things that are holding on for me, it's really best to go to that highest part of my mind and say, look, I need some help with this. Because if I just try to quit on my own or outthink myself, well, there's a part of my mind that's going to bring me in a full circle right back into the reasons why I do smoke. So we want to always take it up to a higher level. Now, when you repeat the statement, I'm willing to see this blank differently, you are offering your higher mind a space to enter your mind and heal your perceptions for you. All thoughts are either creative or miscreative. Thoughts, being the cause, produce your experiences, being the effect. If you're experiencing lack or deprivation of any kind, then it follows that some portion of your mind is in alignment with the idea that lack is expected or even possible. In order for the experience of lack to be healed, your thoughts about lack must be healed first. It is your thoughts that are producing and or contributing to the experience of lack in the first place. This is so key. This is a place where if we had an alarm that could play, this is so important. And sometimes you might think, well, I don't think I created that. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be without my income or without my job. So have you ever heard of the concept of a collective belief?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
The consciousness of
the populace or the whole, right?
We're thinking of the same. We're having the similar
Right.
thoughts.
Right, like even a collective belief about the swine flu, and I know Zephyr has a great story about that, but just your contagion story. But when we have a whole population that has a mindset, and right now we are part of a population that believes that lack is not only real, but it's happening and it's getting worse. So there's going to be a natural tendency that we as humans are going to start to feel pulled by that population, trying to almost like sucked into that consciousness of lack. So it doesn't mean that you specifically have been holding these thoughts, oh, I'm going to lose my job or not have enough money. But if you're flipping on the news and you're letting that stuff come in as a steady diet and you're not doing anything with it, you're not standing your own ground about your own consciousness, you will wear it like a hat.
Like when they say the gas prices are going up and everybody gets that thought, you start thinking
there it is. And then you almost are looking for the increases in the signs as you're driving along. And so what do we do about that?
Cancel it.
Cancel, right? So right when we hear it on the news, if we can think of it, we catch ourselves and we just go, I'm willing to see this differently. Actually, that's enough.
Yeah.
Why is that enough?
You can always tell yourself, this doesn't affect me. That's what I tell myself.
You can, but if you think it affects everyone else, it actually comes back around because there's only one. Mm-hmm. So if you hold that thought, it might work temporarily, but it will sneak back around to you because there's only one of us. So whatever we know, we want to know for everyone because there's no one separated from us because there's only that one divine consciousness. And the higher thought wins. Why is that? So some of these thoughts I've shared in other classes. So if you haven't been to my other classes, it's okay.
That's higher vibration.
Higher vibration. It's like light in a dark room. The light wins. Darkness, hands down, loses when the light comes on. So when you hold a higher thought, the higher thought always trumps the lower thought, and it dissolves it. So when we hear about, a GM plant closing, and you think, oh, your heart might sink because you think of all those people, and Now they don't have a job, and now they have to find their way, and maybe they can't feed their families. It's like, stop, stop, stop. And that doesn't mean that we don't care about them and that we don't have great compassion for what they're experiencing. We know all about all that, right? We know what it might feel like, or we might have experienced it ourselves. But what we can do is that the instant we hear it is we can stop and just say, I'm willing to see this differently. Please heal any place in my mind that believes that layoffs or lack or deprivation is even possible. Just take that from my mind and heal it and restore it with your love and your abundance and your peace, so that I can experience my natural state of abundance. And I want to know that not only for myself, but for everyone involved in that situation. Many people are starting their own businesses, things they've always wanted to do, but then there's another part of the population that gets into great fear and distress, and then they don't know what to do, and then they create more fear, and then what happens? It just kind of spirals, and the situation seems to get worse, and then you can feel pretty punished, like, you're a good guy, good gal, and all of a sudden these bad things happen, and then what? You might even assign that to God and say, God, what are you doing to me? Why am I being tested like this? And we don't even and then that's not good, because what are we doing? We're creating even higher and deeper in terms of our experience. So it may be tempting, and I know even for myself it's tempting. When things don't go the way you want, it's easy to slip into that consciousness of frustration, and you feel like you're trying at something and then you can't. But we know that if we go there and we get into anger and resentment, we are perpetuating the problem and we are sending it ahead for ourselves. So we want to learn to not do that, even if it felt good at the time. It's not worth it later. I mean, if you knew that every time you do that, you're compounding your problem and you're making it worse, then you wouldn't do that. Sometimes doesn't it feel good sometimes to be angry? Like when you really feel like you want to be mad about something, and if somebody just started singing a happy song or something, you just go, just leave the room, I'm just mad, So we learn more and more that anger doesn't hold anything that we want. So when you repeat the statement, I'm willing to see this differently, you are offering your higher mind a space to enter your mind and heal your perceptions for you. Never go to your own mind for healing, as it is your own mind that created your current problem, or contributed to it, or consented to it. Remember, it could even be a collective consciousness kind of problem, and if you didn't do anything with it in your mind, all of a sudden, you're part of the flow. Do not rely on your own devices to get yourself out of your perceived problem. If you are in what feels like an impossible situation, and you are having a tough time trying to see your situation differently, then you can choose to see a void instead. So this is out of A Course in Miracles. And what happens is we get into these tough situations. Maybe your job just went, and now your car broke down. And then maybe you've got all of a sudden relatives coming into town, and there's no money to take care of their needs, and it just keeps compounding, and you can't see it differently. You just feel like you're pretty screwed, right? So if you're in that situation where you can't see past it, you don't have to be a saint or a divine being or extra spiritual. If you can't see past it, it's okay. Forgive yourself for that. We're not required to not have fear. Our part, though, if we want to know about peace, is to be willing to release the fear. It's like acknowledge it, pay attention to it, and then release it and let it go. But what we can do is just choose to see a void. That's not so hard, right? Say there's this big mess, no job, relatives coming, no car, can't even go to the grocery store, feeling mad. So what we do is we kind of sit, we take in our story, we just think about it for a moment. And you can even put it up like on a chalkboard or a blackboard, and you could just kind of erase it off there. And you don't have to think anything perfect or wonderful to put in its place. Just see a void.